Aloha folks and welcome. Today we're going to talk about bounce. What is bounce, okay? So here's a 60-degree wedge, a lob wedge, and if I hold it like this, can you see this angle here? Hopefully you can. You see that there's an angle on the bottom, the sole of the club. It's not flat, but it's actually, if I hold the shaft vertically, there's a little bit of an angle downward. That is the bounce. Now, what is the function of the bounce? The function of the bounce is simply to get the golf club to come back up and out of either the grass, the dirt, or the sand. Okay, it's kind of like the airplane wing. You know, if you've ever sat next to the wing of the airplane, you notice that when you fly, it moves. And sometimes it moves to make the plane go up, and sometimes it moves to make the plane go down. And the bounce is angled this way so that when you hit into the sand or the ground or the rough, it propels the club back up. Now, if there were no bounce on the club, if the sole were flat or angled downward, the club would continue to descend, and the ball wouldn't pop out. Okay, so it's very important. Now, there are usually at least 3 different degrees of bounce offered per wedge, and usually you have a high bounce, more angle, mid bounce, and then a low bounce, very little angle. Now, why would you have different degrees of bounce? Well, different types of golf swings or techniques would probably demand a different type of bounce. Okay, a good example is if you tend to be steep in your attack, and your nemesis is chunking or hitting behind the ball, then having max bounce would be good, because it would help to be more forgiving, or make the club more forgiving. So when you make a mistake, it'll kick it back out, and you might recover some of those poor shots. Okay, definitely would help in the bunker a lot, because if you're real steep, you probably would just dig underneath the ball and it wouldn't come out real nice. Now, who would want low bounce? Well, low bounce would probably be nice for someone who picks the ball clean, right? So you want to get the leading edge closer to the ground or the turf or whatever, because you're coming in shallow, catching it clean. And if you have a great deal of bounce, that'll make that club sit higher up, the leading edge sit higher up off the ground. So it's usually those shallow types of swings, or people who are highly skilled might want less bounce so that they can control exactly what the club is doing, and the bounce won't interfere with that. But for the most part, bounce is your friend, and bounce helps. So I would say, unless it's one of those things, if you know, then you know, or something like that, you know what I mean? You'll know if you need low bounce. If you're thinking, well, maybe I should then just go for the average, the standard bounce, or the high bounce. And I think if you're a higher handicapper or new to the game, you should just immediately grab the high bounce. It's gonna help. It's like having a big club head with a lot of perimeter weighting and back weighting makes the club more forgiving. The bounce makes the wedge more forgiving. And so it gives you one less thing that can go wrong, or it helps you out of a lot of difficult situations. Aside from that, I don't know if there's any more that we need to discuss with regard to bounce. So bounce is your friend. Use it to your advantage. Yeah, don't hesitate, and don't be proud. Don't go for the standard bounce or the low bounce because you think, oh, you don't want to use the junk player's club, because tell you what, when you get the ball closer to the hole with that green side shot, you'll look a lot better than showing off that you have low bounce wedge. Anyways, hopefully that helps, and we'll catch you on the next one. Aloha.